Addie?
What is it, Miles?
Was Desiree Lathan a client of yours by any chance?
No, but plenty of the other grand dames used to gossip about her.
What sort of things would they say?
Usually they'd comment about how much she'd had to drink the night before. I got the impression she was quite the tippler. I hope you're not planning on following her example.
That would require me to burn to death in our bed.
Then I stand by my previous statement.
I'll let you get back to your book. I shouldn't be gone too long.
Take care of yourself out there.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Are you Roger DeVay?
I am.
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I have some questions for you if you aren't too busy.
Will this take long? This isn't exactly the best time.
It shouldn't, no.
All right then, quickly.
Do you know Desiree Lathan?
Desiree? Yes, of course I know her. What happened to her was just awful.
Indeed. My condolences, Mr. DeVay. What can you tell me about her?
She was a wonderful woman. Sharp, full of life, extremely witty. I only knew her for a short time, but I consider myself lucky to have had her as a friend.
How did you two meet?
We were introduced at a party and became fast friends. It's hard to believe she's really gone.
Do you have any information regarding Desiree's death?
No, none at all. It came as a total shock. I heard she was burned to death. Oh, is that true?
It is.
It's really just unthinkable.
Do you know of anyone who might have wished harm upon her?
No, everyone loved her. To think someone could be capable of doing that to her, it just makes me feel sick.
You painted Desiree's portrait, is that right?
Yes, I finished it just a few months ago.
Do you often do commissioned work?
Sometimes, but this wasn't exactly a commission, more like a gift.
You mean you weren't paid for it?
No, I didn't do it for money. It was an honor just to paint her.
I see. And did she like the result?
Well, she had it hanging in her bedroom and not in her attic, so I assumed she liked it well enough.
It was a rather nice portrait, I must admit.
Oh, so you've seen it?
Indeed I have. Regrettably, I can't comment on the likeness, never having seen the subject in life.
Ah, yes. Well, she used to say that standing in front of it was like looking into a mirror. I tried my best to do her justice.
How long have you been teaching at this university?
About 4 years now.
And do you also earn money with your painting?
Not of late. I haven't sold a painting in some time. But my salary from the university is enough for the time being. Perhaps someday I'll be able to devote the proper focus to my painting.
I'll let you get back to your class.
Right.
All the tools an artist would ever need. Brushes, pieces of canvas, paints. There's also several jars full of clear liquid. Interesting. Huh. This is linseed oil. It's used as a drying agent for oil paintings. It would be a good idea to take a sample of this, Miles, especially now that nobody's looking. Now that we've got some linseed oil, it's probably worth testing. Well, I'll be damned. We've got ourselves a match. I wonder if Edwards knows anything pertinent about this stuff.
Pardon me, Edwards.
Yes,
What do you know about linseed oil?
it's an oil made from flaxseed that has many uses. Most commonly, it's used to dry things like varnish or oil paints. Some people even eat it for health benefits. I hear it goes well with a bit of quark.
And it's flammable?
As most oils are, yes. Where are you going with this?
The oily residue on that rag is linseed oil.
Fascinating.
But I found no trace of anything used to light a fire at the crime scene.
Uh-oh, he's getting that gleam in his eye.
Wait just a moment. Linseed oil? Of course! Anytime linseed oil is used, extreme caution must be taken to dry cure rags that may be soaked in it. That's because when linseed oil dries and oxidizes, it releases heat. A pile of rags soaked in linseed oil in a confined space runs the risk of spontaneously combusting.
How long would this take exactly?
A few days, at least.
Interesting. It's a rather uncertain means of murder, but it's excellent for appearing accidental.
It's certainly not the most far-fetched conclusion you've ever come to.
Have you had a chance to look at those ashes I gave you?
Yes, I have. Unfortunately, there isn't much I can tell you. The victim burned to death at a very high temperature. These ashes are greasy and putrid because of liquefied fat from the body, which burned like a candle.
It's quite all right, Edwards. I appreciate the information nonetheless.
Well, just so you don't go away empty-handed, have a copy of my report. Maybe it will be of some use.
Thanks. That's all I needed to know for the moment.
Anytime, Fordham.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it then.
Nice house. It definitely screams, eccentric person lives here. Speaking of which, that must be Mrs. Andrews over there with those rodents.
Excuse me, Mrs. Andrews?
May I help you?
I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I was hoping you could answer a few questions.
All right then. Don't worry, my darlings. Mommy only needs a moment to speak to the nice man, then I'll give you all the nuts you can eat. My little friends just adore nuts, Mr. Fordham.
Guess that explains why squirrels are so attracted to her.
Did you know Desiree Lathan?
Not personally. I never met her, but I knew exactly who she was.
And who was that?
A miserable drunk. Always going out and getting liquored up at her so-called socialite balls. They try to make them seem so fancy and high class, but it's really just a bunch of bitter old hags getting together to gossip about each other. With that kind of lifestyle, it was only a matter of time before it caught up with her.
Do you happen to know anything about the circumstances surrounding the death of Miss Lathan?
I read in the paper that she was burned to death. In her bed, wasn't it?
That's right. Do you have any idea how that may have happened?
Well, I already told you she was a drunk. Maybe she came home plastered and decided to smoke in bed. I'm rather surprised she was sleeping alone. That woman got around, if you know what I mean.
She certainly seems to know a lot about Desiree for someone who claims to have never met her.
Do you have any hobbies or pastimes, Mrs. Andrews?
Well, of course. I do a bit of knitting and I take care of my pets.
I take it you're fond of animals?
Oh, yes. I just love animals. Most prove to be better company than people.
Is that right?
Well, consider this, Mr. Fordham. Animals can't betray you or lie.
Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going.
My furry little companions would never hurt me, unlike several humans I could name.
Who are these companions, exactly?
Why, my darling little kitties and squirrel friends, of course.
Tell me about your cats.
They're the most wonderful little dears. Do you have any pets?
Afraid not. My wife isn't too fond of cleaning up after animals.
Pity. Cats make wonderful pets. They're good company and are independent, unlike dogs. Edgar and Hubert are my pride and joy. I give them only the best of everything, and they in turn give me their unconditional love.
That's delightful.
I used to have a wonderful cat named Tobias, but, he had an unfortunate accident. That's why I never let my two angels out of the house.
What happened to Tobias the cat?
Oh, I really rather not talk about that. It wasn't my finest hour. Let's just say it was an honest misunderstanding which got blown way out of proportion.
Well, now I just have to know what happened. I hate it when people tease gossip and don't deliver.
Your squirrel friends are quite tame.
Oh, aren't they just the sweetest? And so smart, too. When I feed them, they come up and put their little paws on my hands as though they were giving me little squirrel hugs. And the way they look into my eyes, I can almost hear them saying, "Thank you for the nuts."
Well, at least you can be grateful that it's only my voice you hear and not some rabid squirrels.
Thank you for the chat. It was very enlightening.
Oh, my pleasure, Mr. Fordham. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to tending to my little darlings.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes?
is there anything you can tell me about your wife's old cat, Tobias?
Oh, God. There's a name I was hoping never to hear again. She loved that cat. I'm sure she would have married it instead of me if she could. Mangy little bastard was always leaving a mess and knocking things over, but he was Peggy's little angel. Then one day I'd had enough, so I let him outside, and
Yes?
the stupid thing managed to get itself killed. Then things got ugly.
How so?
Peggy got a bit carried away, and, well, let's just say I never imagined a cat could earn someone a criminal record.
The plot thickens. Or perhaps sickens.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Andrews. Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
I need some information on one Margaret Andrews. Apparently, she has a criminal record.
Margaret Andrews, eh? Give me a moment to look her up in the archives. Yes, here we are. Margaret Andrews was brought in for questioning 5 years ago in connection with a fire at a theater in Worcester.
Oh?
Yes, nothing came of it, but she was briefly a suspect. Oh, there's more. She also had a prior conviction for arson.
You don't say.
The file says she set fire to a cab after the driver ran over her cat. She served 6 months in prison for that. This was back in 1835.
Fascinating.
Thank you for your help, Upton. This has been extremely valuable.
So, Margaret Andrews has a jealous streak and a penchant for setting things on fire. Seems a likely culprit to me.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it then.
I don't think there's really anything else worth asking him about right now. Probably best not to disturb his class. I don't think there's anything she can help.
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you.
Nothing more to ask her about right now. Nothing. We haven't got anything else.
Honey, I'm home. You know, I've always wanted to say that.
Hello, Miles.
Addie,
What is it, Miles?
I'll let you get back to your book. I shouldn't be gone too long.
Good luck.
Nothing new to ask him about right now.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes?
I'm done with the Lathan case.
Oh? What have you got?
Actually, I'm not ready to wrap.
Okay, just
That's it for now.
better get back to it.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone reading those books. I'm happy. Well, so much for modesty. Ooh, is it warm in here or is it just me? I'm guessing it's locked, but it probably only contains more art supplies we don't care about. All the tools an artist would ever need, brushes, pieces. I feel as though this could be relevant, but I can't really see how. Probably best not to disturb his class if you've got nothing new to ask about. Probably best. Nothing more.
Welcome back, Mr. Fordham.
I don't think there's anything she can help with right now. Those are some creepy twin girls. I could see a passing resemblance to Miss Maxwell, actually.
I'll be going.
May the spirit...
Nothing else to ask him about. We haven't got anything else to ask him about right now. I tried using one of these automatic money dispensers once, but I nearly got my arm stuck inside. They still got a long way to go. Yeah, impressive bit of hardware. It would take a criminal mastermind to rob this bank. What an absurd contraption. Imagine needing all those extra bits and bobs just to tell the time.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but...
I'm done.
Oh? What have you got?
She was murdered by Margaret Andrews out of jealousy. Her husband, Peter, was obsessed with Desiree and constantly sent her love letters, even after marrying Margaret. When Mrs. Andrews found out, she flew into a jealous rage and killed Miss Lathan by burning her to death.
And how did she manage to do so?
I'm unclear on the exact specifics of how, but her criminal history of arson indicates that she is the most likely culprit.
Dastardly. I'll pass along the information. Perhaps the other detectives can find a definitive link to Mrs. Andrews' method. Good work, Fordham.
Margaret Andrews?
Yes, that's right. How may I help you, officer?
You're under arrest for the murder of Desiree Lathan.
What? But that's impossible. What proof do you have?
I'm not obligated to answer your questions, madam. Now please, come with me.
Oh, you pigs are all the same. But just you wait. Edgar and Hubert will avenge me!
Dearest, I'm back.
There you are. I was starting to get worried you wouldn't make it home in time.
In time? In time for what?
For dinner at the Rutherfords. I told you about it the other night, don't you remember?
I'm terribly sorry, dear. It must have slipped my mind.
How you haven't yet been presented a prize for Husband of the Year is beyond me.
There's still time for you to get ready if you hurry.
Why not just reschedule? I'm sure they'll understand.
They're leaving on a 2-month trip to Europe next week. This will be the last chance to see them for ages.
Then go ahead without me. Please give Anne and Joseph my regrets.
So you're just going to sit here at home by yourself?
I'll probably just catch up on my reading or try and get some sleep. Maybe I'll get around to reading that story in Brentwell's.
All right, suit yourself. I shouldn't be home too late, but don't wait up.
Have a wonderful time, my love.
Ah, alone at last.
If only I were.
Careful what you wish for, Miles. You just might get it.
Seeing as I won't, I think another trip to the Angel's in order.
Oh, you're gonna break your word in addition to lying? That's bold.
Nonsense. I'll be home in no time. It'll just be a quick drink to calm my nerves and get you out of my hair.
I think I need a machete for that for you.
Very funny.
So, that last case was really something. It's true. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Still, I hope they manage to find exactly how Mrs. Andrews killed Desiree. Otherwise, she's likely to be set free. You're not listening to me, are you? Oh, right, you've had 2 drinks already. Fine, I'll just see myself out.
Copper for your thoughts, Miles?
Oh, I was just thinking about a story I read tonight in Brentwell magazine. It's called The Dissembling Mechanism. Are you familiar with it?
Afraid not. Brentwell...
It isn't mine either, but my wife suggested I read it, and it struck a bit of a chord.
Go on, then. What's it about?
The story concerns an inventor, a woman who's the greatest mind of the modern age. In this story, ethericity's been discovered, and the inventor understands and uses it in her work.
Ah, one of those fantastic speculative stories.
Anyway, this inventor spends her time creating mechanical wonders, the likes of which the world has never seen. The inventor has a son whom she loves dearly. One day, he meets a tragic end in a carriage accident. The inventor is devastated.
All too common in these types of stories.
Yes, well, as I mentioned before, the inventor is the greatest mind of the modern age. She spends weeks researching a way to bring him back. She toils for hours, forgetting to eat, neglecting her duties, forgetting her friends. Finally, she finds a way to repair his broken body with mechanical implants. Once that's done, she harnesses the power of ethericity and revives him from death.
Why would she go and do something like that?
Because the inventor's obsession was fueled by guilt. She felt responsible for the death of her loved one, and would stop at nothing to make things right.
But why? She had nothing to do with the accident, did she?
Guilt is a strange emotion, Patrick. It can easily trump rationality, believe me. In any case, things don't go well. The inventor brings her son back, and at first he's confused, wild. With time and patience, she tries to ease him back into the world of the living. But gradually, she comes to realize that this person she's brought back isn't her son. Not as he was, anyway. When she understands what she's done, she flies into a fit of madness, and she kills both her creation and herself.
How tragic.
She also leaves behind a note which closes off the story. I can still recall the exact words. This dissembling mechanism hath not the vital breath of he whom I loved. It is not him. I have formed but a vain, mocking shadow of what is forever lost.
That's one hell of a story, Miles.
As I said, it resonated with me quite deeply.
Same here. I can tell you, I'm glad that ethericity crap hasn't been discovered, or else this sort of thing won't just be in stories. You mark my words.
Yes, I suppose that's one way of interpreting it. I should probably be getting home.
One last gin for the road?
Ah, hell, why not? It's later than I thought. Addie must be asleep.
Miles, I thought you said you were staying in tonight. What happened to you?
Nothing. I went out for a bit and lost track of time.
Miles, you're dead drunk.
No, of course I'm not.
Don't you dare keep lying to me, Miles. It's obvious. I can smell it on you.
But I'm not drunk. I only had 2, I think.
I don't care how many you had. You promised me this wouldn't happen again. Where exactly did you go tonight anyway?
I was at the Angel.
The Angel? But why would you go there?
I suppose I was just trying to relive the old days.
So why didn't you tell me you were going?
I don't know.
Miles, this has to stop. First it was that sleep medicine, now you've started to go out drinking yourself into a stupor after you explicitly promised me you wouldn't again. It's clear that you've been keeping something from me and using drugs and drink as a way to avoid dealing with it.
No, really, it's just...
No, Miles. I'm tired of the lies. I heard what you said when I came home from my appointment with Mrs. Lefebvre. God forbid Adelaide ever find out about something. I wanted to think I'd imagined it, so I let it go, but I've come to realize just how wrong I was.
Addie, please.
Enough. No more excuses, no more lying. I just want to hear the truth. What is it you're not telling me?
I can't tell you, Addie. I'm sorry, but if I do, you'll think I'm crazy.
Do you know what I think is crazy, Miles? The fact that you think it necessary to lie to your own wife. Am I to believe that for all these years you've never felt you could trust me?
Of course not. It's just that this is different.
A lie is a lie, Miles. And the bottom fact is you've been lying to me for months. Perhaps I was too naive or too distracted to see what was really going on, but you finally opened my eyes. This can't go on. I refuse to let it go on.
What are you saying?
Get out, Miles, and don't come back until you're ready to tell me the truth.
Addie, you don't mean that.
I do mean it, Miles. I don't care where you spend the night, but it's not going to be here. If you ever decide you want to tell me what's going on, I'll listen. But until then, just go. Oh.
Take me away from all my troubles. So far away from all the worries in my life. Who in the ether is calling at this time of night? Oh, Miles! Please come in. It's so nice to see you outside of work.
Oh, I get a hug and a kiss? Is that how it works now?
You put up your rough and tough attitude, but I know deep down you're really a kitten.
Upton, are you drunk?
No, of course not. I I admit I like to have a glass of wine or 6 to unwind after work, but I can hold my own.
Well, I'm glad you're not, because I am.
Wait, what's going on? Is everything all right?
No, I'm afraid I've made a mess of things at home. Addie threw me out.
Oh, Miles. I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Not as sorry as I am, believe me.
What happened?
It's really not worth getting into. Let's just say I need to figure some things out about my life.
Don't we all?
Constance, I hate to impose, but
Of course you can stay here, Miles, as long as you need to.
thank you. I won't need much space. That chair in the corner should do nicely.
Are you sure? You won't be uncomfortable?
I've slept in worse places, believe me.
All right. Well, I should probably be getting to bed. Early morning tomorrow and all that.
Of course. Have a good night, Upton, and thank you again for letting me stay.
Not a problem. Good night.
Election night. The perfect opportunity to switch out one rich swindler for another. Don't know why you're wasting your time. It's not as though the Prime Minister actually does anything. It's oddly quiet in here. Maybe my mustache drawing campaign had an effect after all.
Good evening, sir. Are you registered to vote?
Yes, I am. Here's my registration card.
Very good, Mr. Fordham. You've come at an excellent time. Go ahead and step inside a booth. Take as long as you need.
Thank you, young man.
Well, that's taken care of. Thankfully, the Angel isn't a polling place, so we can still have a nice quiet evening.
What? My head is pounding. Damn withdrawal.
Actually, I think someone's knocking at the door.
Oh, right. Good afternoon, miss. If you're looking for Miss Upton, I'm afraid she's not in right now.
No, I've already spoken with Miss Upton. I'm looking for Mr. Miles Fordham.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm Miles Fordham. What can I do for you, Miss...
Mrs. Emily Morgan. I have a problem, you see. Miss Upton said you'd be able to help.
I suppose you'd better come in. So, what seems to be the trouble?
It's my brother, Ronan Lespay. He was murdered 4 nights ago outside a tavern in the Chum.
How unfortunate. Please, go on.
The police took his body to the mortuary and investigated the crime scene, but they're out of ideas. I've been down there at the station every day, but they don't seem to care enough to look into it any further. All they've been able to determine was that it wasn't a robbery, and that the clothes he was wearing weren't his. My brother was a good man, Mr. Fordham. He would never have willingly gone to that part of town. I need to know why he was murdered, and I want whoever did it to pay for it.
Very well, Mrs. Morgan. I'll take your case.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Fordham.
I just need to know where your brother was killed and where I might be able to contact you.
He was found outside the Silent Raven. It's on Alewife Avenue, on the west side of the Chum. Here, take this. It's a photo of Ronan. It might help your investigation. And if you need to speak with me, you can come to my husband's bakery. It's here in Worcester, at 15 Drummond Street.
Very good. I'll begin my investigation right away.
Thank you again, Mr. Fordham. You have no idea how much this means to me.
Well, this case has our names written all over it. Maybe it'll be good practice for finding the man who caused my death, eh?